What is up, everybody? Tyler here with TCG University for the card game UniVersus, and today I'm going to be doing a reaction to the new Mortal Kombat deck loadable content or DLC pack. This one is going to be for Nightwolf. It looks like. So actually, I don't know any of the characters. I'm not a big Mortal Kombat fan. I didn't play it a lot as a kid, so I actually know none of the characters that are presented on the box art. I know that there's a female Goro. I know that she existed, and there's a purple scorpion, and then there's one other dude. I don't know who any of them are, including Nightwolf. I just know the name from the card. So if you're excited about any of those guys, come back for our reactions on them later. But as I was saying before I veered myself off the road, this is for the Mortal Kombat DLC pack, which will be releasing on May 1st, 2020. The pre-orders for that will end on April 7th. So make sure by April 7th you tell your Premier store, hey, we would like to get these. Please order them. Because these are all one-time limited runs. So Jaska will print it one time, and then they will not print it anymore. You will have to either buy what is ever left over that they have printed, or get all these cards from second-party retailers like us at TCG Player or Legendary Wolf or Rochester or wherever you can find them. So make sure you do that if you want any of these cool new cards. But without further ado, let's hop right into it. So Nightwolf, he is a 7 hand size, 20 vitality character. He has Chaos, Earth, and Good. That is awesome. Earth and Good share a lot of stuff right now. They're all two like complementary symbols, basically. Just every character under the sun that has one symbol has the other one, basically. Kinda. I don't know if that's on purpose or just happens to be that way, but it does. So he's going to have a lot of support. Another cool thing I'm seeing right away is that the heart is an actual anatomically correct heart instead of like the whatever hearts. And that's there's one other character that does that whose name is Ash. Ash is his name. I was trying to think of his name earlier, and I could not. So he has that, and I'm wondering if that is a new thing that they're doing with all cards. Probably not. Or if that's just because this is Mortal Kombat and that sort of fits the theme. But either way, it's real cool and I like it. His first ability is Enhance. If your attack is blocked, your next attack gets plus X damage. X equals the block modifier of your opponent's block plus 1. Okay. So, for all of you new viewers out there, I've won a PTC with a Goro Daemon from King of Fighters, and Goro did exactly that. If your attack was blocked, I think it was a response instead of an enhance. So, kind of the same, but it was harder to interact with, and he also gave plus to the check, but it did exactly that, is that if this is blocked, my next one's going to get stronger. So yeah, I'm sure people are going to tell me how much about this I'm going to want to play. I'm going to get jokes like that all day. Cool. That is totally fine though. That's a really fun ability. I like it a lot. It says that don't block my things unless you want to unless you know this is the end of it. And you don't really ever know that this is the end of it, especially in a 7-hander. You can just hold a bunch of attacks. So that's awesome. That's you can really ramp with that. Because then if they have to keep blocking, if they're going to block one thing, they're going to have to block everything. Otherwise, you're just going to run through them. Or they block every other thing, but still, that's still like a bunch of damage that you're pumping through. His second ability, response once per turn. After you make a check, commit and freeze any number of your foundations. That check gets +2 for each foundation committed and frozen this way. Okay. That's a really cool way of making sure you pass things. So basically each foundation counts as +2 when you commit it instead of +1. But that does mean, you know what? how I'm not 100% sure how frozen is worded. Um, if it's worded that your next, it's man, I'd have to look that up. So this either means one of two things. It either means you're committing it to have it not be able to be readied by. I think this might be worse. So I think okay, let's take it back. So this either means that you are freezing it, which means that it can't be readied on your opponent's turn, which now that I'm saying it out loud, I do not think that that is how frozen cards work. I think they stay committed until the end. They cannot be readied during your next ready phase, I think is how it's worded. It is a new keyword. It is a new flavor text. So I'm not 100% on it. But that might mean that you commit a foundation for 2 turns then if you use it with his ability, which might be really bad if it does work like that it takes 2 turns for this foundation to be able to be readied again. But then again, if you're about to kill them with something, committing 2 foundations to give plus 4 to your check, that's real good. That's like insane, actually. So I don't know. I guess it's just if you got to use it smartly, you can't just be freezing your foundations all willy nilly. That's not going to get you anywhere. But anyways, let's move on to his deck. Tomahawk Swing. It is a 4/3, 2 high block, 4 high for 4. It is Fury Weapon. It is response, discard momentum. After this attack deals damage, destroy up to X of your foundations. Build the top card of your deck face down for each foundation destroyed. X equals the damage dealt. Okay, now, if it does work the way that I'm thinking it works, where his foundations are frozen for 2 turns, who cares? You can just destroy them with this and build them back down, and they're no longer frozen. That's awesome. And then enhance your block modifier to play the block modifier to block this attack gets +2. Okay, so that's even crazier. So this thing is actually a 6 high for 4, basically. It just is a little bit that they can interact with. It's a little bit more math that they have to do to get it there, but that's what it is. So this card's actually crazy. This says I'm going to discard 1 response to discard 1 momentum. Nutty. Because you don't have to, because then your opponent can't like play around it necessarily. They have to either just take the damage and then wonder if you're going to do it or not. Like they have to preemptively do things that you might not want to do it anyways. You might just say, well, I don't actually want to discard this momentum right now, but they don't know that. So this gives you a little bit more flexibility with what you want to do, which is awesome. And then you could play this like really late into the chain. Who cares? You commit your entire staging area to then you freeze your entire staging area with his ability to play this as like the 5th attack because you held a bunch of attacks, or you drew a bunch for on something under good with all of your passing the torch. You just drew a bunch of cards and playing a bunch of attacks. You freeze everything and then you blow it all up because this thing dealt 7 damage because that's what your opponent had to block with. Man, that's awesome. This is a real cool card. I'm really into it. I'm into it a lot. Let's move on to his foundation. Spiritual Connection. It is a 2/5, 2 low block. Response, flip. After you are dealt damage from an attack, your opponent must play a non-attack card as their next form this turn or pass. Okay, that is... I get why Raiden is in the card art. So Raiden has an ability like that. And I guess he has a spiritual connection with Raiden, so he gets to steal one of his abilities now. And he gets to say that, hey, you have to play something as a non-attack card as your next form, otherwise you pass. Which must play a non-attack card as their next form. Okay, it does say form, so crazy, awesome. So that is like that is a crazy ability. So it clogs up their card pool, and says that like you now have breaker 1 for the rest of the turn because I flipped, and it doesn't say from an unblocked attack, so you can half block an attack, take whatever, and then still flip this and clog their card pool 1. Otherwise, they can't attack you anymore, which is real good. And then like you can also ruin combo decks that require like combo attack or combo whatever. That's awesome. I think that's honestly like a 4 of in every deck that can play this now, because like that's huge disruption. It can really stop turns, especially if you have multiple. You're saying that you get attacked like 1 or 2 times at max, which is real good. And then response flip. After the combat phase begins, name a card for the rest of this combat phase. After your opponent plays a copy of the named card, build the top card of your deck face down. Okay. This is super fun. Oh my god. So this is just mind games the card then. If you get a called shot like that, so I guess I'll say I don't think that is actually like crazy. I think it is really fun though to like call a shot like that to build something down. I don't think you'll ever really use it unless you really know what your opponent is about to play, which isn't hard to do. You can definitely guess what like the best cards in the game are, and then building 1 foundation or maybe 2 if they're really lucky, because they're going to be playing something real good then. That's pretty all right. That's really cool. You also like, so this is a fun thing that you can do. Like Raphael just had a card come out in the Soul Calibur DLC pack that says after you block with this card, respond played as a reversal. Skull Barrier and Jet also has a card that does that. If you can call that card, you actually get to build 2 foundations, because they're blocking it. They're playing it once as a block, and then they're playing it again as an attack. So if you think that your opponent might have that and that they're going to block with it this turn, then you can build 2 foundations on your turn to better go in on, which is awesome, which is crazy to flip to build 2 on 1 attack. That's really good. Man, I like all these cards. I think they're all real good. Nightwolf, I think that he needs to be playing 4 of his attack, which I think is good, actually. That's good card design to make your character want to play their attacks. But I do not think he is insane by any stretch of the means. He does get to say that your opponent doesn't want to block any of his attacks. So he kind of gets to go in a little bit, because he just gets to pump damage on everything that they block. So they have to pick and choose which cards they're going to block so that they don't get dumpstered by the next one that's coming in. But yeah, if you want any of these cards, again, this DLC pack comes out on May 1st. And the pre-order for it ends on April 7th. So make sure that you go out and you tell your Premier store that you want this, and you get these cards, because they're actually really good. The Attack and the Foundation definitely are top notch. Those are great. You're gonna want to get these. I bet you. But without further ado, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun jazz. And thank you for watching this video. And if you want to watch any more, again, like, subscribe, comment, do all that stuff. I'm really hungry, and that's all I've been thinking about, kind of. But thank you for watching, and have a wonderful night.